the character traits that must be associated that you learn as you go, right? Because these character traits are things that have to happen in order for these skills to be consistently executed. And so it's first you develop the skills, right, at a proficient level. Then you dive deep on those skills so that you get better and better at them. And typically that comes through consistent execution and repetition, which means that it takes the character traits of focus and determination and drive, right, and being able to be consistent and not go away and start looking at shiny objects, looking at a new opportunity, looking at this other side hustle you want to do, whatever it is, right? Because there's always new things. And what's crazy about this is that the higher up you go, the more seductive the woman in the red dress looks like. And I'm saying that from Matrix is my all-time favorite movie. The woman in the red dress, I'm using this as a parable or whatever, a visual for opportunity. And when you're starting out, the woman in the red dress always looks attractive. And the thing is that the higher up you go, the more of a 10 she becomes. Now, if you're a girl, then I don't know, guy in a like suit, whatever. I don't know, maybe that looks more like a pimp, so forget about that. But whatever, you know, George Clooney or whoever your person is, whatever, you get my point. Is that, like, I thought that I was having discipline and saying no to a certain level of opportunity when I was starting my gyms, right? And I had to develop that discipline. And then we started making a few $1 million a year. And I was like, okay, I need to develop a new level of discipline because there's more things that I want to do that I have to not be able to do, right? One of the biggest successful things I did was not start the supplement company until a year and a half after, almost 2 years after Gym Launch started. All right, I had planned starting the supplement company at the same time as I started Gym Launch Original, 3.5, 4 years ago. Like they at the same time I wanted to do both. And Layla, the angel that she is, was like, no, that's stupid. Don't do that. And so she thankfully was like, you have to stay focused. And so because of that, we were able to have the explosive growth that we did. And then at the right time, we were able to bolt that on. Now, big picture, I don't know if I would have done it again. I still probably would have stayed even more focused on Gym Launch if I could do it all over again. Now, we have it, you know, we write a check for $600,000 every single month to our gym lords in terms of commission checks. So that's real money that I get to send back to the community. And that's very fulfilling for me. And it solved a problem that I always had when I had my gym. So like, there are reasons that I did it. And so like history will tell whether it was the right call or not. I can never live the life of what it would have been if I hadn't done it. But I think if I were going back in time, knowing what I know now, I might not have done it. But you never know. So I'm telling you, like I've made these mistakes. You know what I mean? And the thing is that level of opportunity looked even more seducing or whatever the word is, when we had 2 years more of a distribution base compared to when we had at the beginning. And so I wasn't able to say no to her that opportunity later on as I was in the beginning. And that was a deficiency in my skill set at the time, my character trait of staying focused, right? And so, like I'm saying all this, if you're looking at it in terms of in verticals, the first step is filling the holes, and that's stacking all the skills together so you can get the first dollar to go over. And that's just becoming proficient, not amazing, just proficient. You don't have to be an expert at running traffic. You just need to be able to actually know how to run an ad. And the thing is that most proficient skills only take like not a lot of time. Like you can Google how to do X, and if you consume for like 2 hours of information, you'll probably be proficient. Most people just don't take those 2 hours to do it because it's uncomfortable and you're not good at it, right? So you consume the information and then you try, right? And then you fail because you're not good at it. You learn, and then just use those first initial tries. You learn more in your first 20 sales than you do in the first 20 hours of learning about sales stuff, right? You first time you actually step in the ring, you learn more about fighting than you do during all the time that you were practicing, right? Because it's real, right? So you're developing, you're stacking your skills and you're becoming proficient at it. Next step, you have to do repetition and being willing to get punched in the face over and over and over again, right? So that you can deepen those skills. And that's what amplifies the skills that you have so that you can get to another level. Then as you get to another level, then your character traits need to be strong so you can stay the course. All right, like the biggest thing in the book by Angela Duckworth called Grit, which is really interesting, is that the people who are most successful in life just stick with it. Like grit is stick-to-itness is what it is. So it's how likely are you to abandon a certain path to pursue another thing, right? And the people in the beginning have very low stick with itness. Entrepreneurs, shiny object, shiny object, shiny object. They're jumping from opportunity to opportunity, and they never give any of the opportunities a chance to be successful. So one of the interesting things that maybe you can think about in terms of a quote that you can take with you is, you can be successful at anything you want, just not everything you want. All right, that was a huge lesson for me. All right, I had a friend from high school who reached out, who had a contracting business and a roofing business, and they were flipping houses. So it's 3 separate businesses. And I was like, dude, like, what do you want help with? And he was like, I don't know, like, what do you think I should do? And I was like, pick one. He's like, well, we're making money in all 3 of them. And I was like, cool, pick one. Each one of those businesses can be a $1 billion business. You can be a $1 billion roofing company. You can be a $1 billion flipping homes company. You can be a $1 billion general contractor. There are examples of each of these things, right? But you just can't be $1 billion in all of them. And so there's a fallacy that we tell ourselves as entrepreneurs, which is that if I do more things, I will make more money, when in fact, I need to do fewer things to get to where I want to go. And the reason I can tell you that it's the truth is because you naturally think the other way. And that's what most people think, which is why most people aren't successful, right? It's they can't focus because there's too many things. It's just so easy to just add this one thing or do this other thing. And all of a sudden you're too spread thin. You're not focused on amplifying the things that you're doing to get better. You're not deepening the skills. You're spreading yourself thinner. Right? And so once you acquire the skill set, once you become proficient, then you amplify the skills that you have by deepening them. And in order to deepen them, you have to have the character traits of sticking with it, being patient, being focused, learning to say no, and doing things over and over again, and accepting the fact that it may take years, it will take years, in order to break through the next level of proficiency. Because when you're developing a skill, let me give you an example to tie this as an analogy for fitness. The amount of effort that it takes to maintain muscle versus the amount of effort it takes to make muscle as you become more advanced dramatically increases. And what's interesting is that there's this big area of no man's land between enough to maintain and enough to break through and create a new stimulus for growth. There's this huge area in the middle, and most people just work out above minimum effective dose, but below the threshold that it takes to adapt. All right. And so when we focus, or when I focus on trying to get swole, trying to gain more muscle, I try and go all the way to the other end to break my body to the point that it has to adapt and get better. Right. And so with the same thing with skill sets is that there's a minimum effective dose, and then there's a whole bunch of area in between where people do stuff enough, but not enough to get better, but still like they could take the extra time, allocate it towards deepening a skill and going all in on it. And really push that forward and really deepen it, rather than just consistently maintaining where you're at. And you can know if you're maintaining where you're at, because if your level of income has stayed the same for a period of years, that means your skill set has stayed the same. And if your skill set has stayed the same, it's usually because you lack the character traits in order to deepen those skills, to amplify the revenue and to amplify your skill set so that you can make more. All right. So I hope this makes sense. This was like one of the many things that I'll probably talk about after the summit. So leveling up, why we get stuck, and it's because the things that you need to improve on are different. All right, in the beginning it's skills, but then you have to change your lens, and then after that it becomes traits, right? It becomes character traits, and those are very different to level up, right? Because everyone just always assumes it's going to be linear the same way, and that's why people get stuck, is because the actual thing that you need to improve changes, right? Not just skills, but the actual nature of the change itself changes, which is pretty cool. And sometimes the skill itself is to not do other things, right? Sometimes the skill itself is maintaining the course, and that is the skill. That is the thing that you need to do to get to the next level, is to do less, and it's remove constraints. So I hope that makes sense for you. I hope you enjoyed that. If you did like this and you're listening on the podcast, drop a comment, drop a like. If you think someone else should listen to it, tag them, tag your friends. Hope you have an amazing day, and lots of love as always. Keep being great. Bye.